Okay, so welcome everybody. This is our first episode, and I'm here, Carole. My name is Carole, and I'm thrilled to be here with Orianne, a fellow Family Constellation facilitator. We're going to explore the fascinating world of family constellations. We're going to see what they are, how they work, and why they're so transformative in group settings. So if you want to find out more about Orianne and myself, we're going to leave lots of links below explaining who we are, what we're doing. So Orianne is a trainer and I'm a coach and facilitator. And so Orianne, hello.
Hello, Carole. I'm so excited to join you. And I say hello to everybody who is joining this first podcast. You know what? This is such a powerful topic, and I can't wait to share our experiences.
Me too. So let's start with we need to decide and to talk about how we discovered family constellations. So how was it for you? What drew you to this work, Orianne?
Yeah, it happened. It was more than 22 years ago. I was a kinesiologist, and I felt often with my clients some blockages, and I noticed it was related with their family story. So I decided to search for a new method, and I discovered the family constellation. So I signed up immediately for all the training course, and this is how I became a family constellation practitioner. How about you?
And a trainer as well. Yeah. Well, I fell in love with family constellation thanks to you, Orianne, because you created an event on LinkedIn and I joined one of your online family constellation workshop. And the story really resonated with me. Then I decided to train with you, and it's been going on for 4 years now. So initially I was just coaching and using body-oriented coaching, but now I use this work in my coaching all the time. So
Yeah,
very
it's
exciting.
incredible. It's
Yeah.
really incredible how this work resonates so deeply, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's why we both felt compelled to become facilitators.
Yeah. So, Carole, how do you explain family constellation to someone new to it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one because every time people ask me, I'm a bit like, how shall I put it in a simple way? So, what I usually say is that it's a way to uncover hidden patterns or dynamics within a family system. And that might be affecting your life today, and you're not even realizing it. So, by creating a physical representation of the system, we can observe and shift these dynamics. How would you describe it, Orianne?
Well, I would like to say that we don't know, but we are so connected with our family and ancestors. And it's like invisible threads between us and them. And these threads can carry unresolved traumas, emotions, or unspoken loyalties that influence us in surprising ways.
Well, that's a beautiful way to put it, Orianne. I think what surprises people most is how deeply connected we are to past generations, even when we don't know much about them.
Yeah. And it's not about blaming or fixing anyone. It's about bringing things into awareness and allowing healing to happen naturally.
Exactly. So I find that once people experience it, they often feel an immediate shift, uh, even if they can't fully explain it.
Mm, yeah.
So, Oriane, what do you think makes the group setting so powerful from family constellations?
Yeah. So it's what I love about groups because you have the collective energy that amplifies the process. And you know what, representatives, without knowing anything about the story of the person they are representing, they often tap into a field of information that brings profound insights. But what about you, Carole? How do you think group dynamics enhance the work?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's collective wisdom. Okay, so it's difficult. Like, even as a representative, you can experience healing or clarity about your own life. Have you ever had a participant that share how being a representative gave them an unexpected insights?
Oh, you know what? Many times. I remember one participant who represented a parent in someone else's constellation. She later told me it helped her understand her own relationship with her mother in a completely new way. Do you have a story like that, Carole?
Let me think. Yeah. So, I had a man who represented a sibling in another person's session. So it was somebody else being having his constellation done, and as he was representing, he realized he'd been carrying similar feelings of exclusion in his own life. So it's amazing how interconnected all these experiences can be.
It really is. And for those who are nervous about joining a group, I always say that just observing can be deeply impactful too.
Yeah, I remember observing and crying just by observing because it felt so true to my story.
So yeah, it's like a mirror, and we have mirror neurons. So we uh, we can feel the compassion, and when we are seeing people healing, we heal at the same time. This is the power of the group.
Yeah, it's like magic.
Yeah. Let's talk about some misconceptions. Carole, what's one thing people often misunderstand about family constellations?
Okay, one of the first misconception, I would say, one big thing is they think that they have to come in the constellation knowing all their family history.
Mm.
Uh, but in fact, the process works even if you know very little. I mean, often we don't know about our great grandparents, but then that gets revealed in the field. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. This is one of the big things. But another um, advantage we can say, and it's also a misconception, it's interesting, but because people think that when you do a family constellation, you have to bring all your family. But you don't need, because you have in the group people who will be representatives of the members of your family. So you don't need to bring all your family. And it's so easy, because I know so many people had to just give up because some different members of the family didn't want to come to the therapy. So it's a great way to heal any relationship we can have with our family or some members of the family.
Mm. And sometimes family members might have died already, so you can't bring them to the session anyway. And you can heal even when somebody's dead, so you can have that closure that you needed. And with a person who's going to represent, look, you represented once my dead dad, and I realized I had never grieved the loss of my dad. And thanks to that representation, I could access this and speak to him, and you were him at the time, and then it was so healing for me.
Mm, yeah. And it's really impacting uh, so many parts of ourselves, and it's beautiful to see how we can feel after this kind of session, because grieving, it's not a big thing in our society. People are not allowed to grieve, so
Mm.
yeah, it's an opportunity to grieve in a safe space, because yeah, I hear people worry that it might be confrontational, but it's actually a very respectful and supportive process. How do you help participants feel at ease, Carole?
So I think what's really important right from the get-go, when we all meet together, we have time to connect, because people don't know each other typically. Often there might be a few friends, but usually they're all complete strangers. So we make sure that we explain the process really well. We clarify any questions, and we make them comfortable in the space, so we can do some meditation, some grounding exercises, because we're going to use the body, so making sure like people are fully present, and also emphasize that they're not alone, that this is group work, that we're all in this together. What about you?
I do the same, Carole, and also I like to set up a frame, some rules, and get the agreement from everybody from the group. And also, I remind them that the goal is not to assign blame, but to bring understanding and healing. And that reassurance makes a big difference.
Yeah, it really does. So once people experience it, the family constellation, they usually realize it's much gentler and more intuitive than they expected. And I think one of the misconceptions that we need to talk about is it's not psychodrama. So it's before, if anyone wants to say something, or they feel like, I feel like screaming, I say, okay, take your time, breathe, and then so people ask permission, but there's no like touching or role playing, and so it's it's very gentle. So I want to reassure people, if they want to do a family constellation, what to expect. It's very important.
Yeah.
So oh, sorry. Orianne, I think we've started giving the impacts and the benefits of family constellation, because I think people want to know what the impacts are. So what's one transformation you witnessed in a participant that really stayed with you all these years?
Yeah, I did so many constellation for more than 20 years, but I had some that impacted me so much, and especially a lady from London who was struggling with infertility, and the cycle of women after 40, the fertility is going down, and she was really worried with that. So she came for a consultation. Somebody recommended. And what happened during the consultation? A representative felt drawn to the field, and she represented an abortion, and she was really surprised to see that this abortion was coming up from the field, without knowing, without talking about it. And she started to cry, and she said after that she never had the opportunity to grieve this abortion. So you know what? A few months later, she was pregnant.
Wow.
It was
Wow, that's
amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
Mm.
So I could share as well, I had a participant who couldn't figure out why he felt unworthy of success. So it was really odd for him. He really couldn't understand that, what he couldn't have this urge to be successful and get there. So his constellation revealed an ancestral pattern of loss tied to wealth. And once he acknowledged and released that, he felt free to pursue his goals without guilt. So he was free to be successful.
Wow, that's so powerful. I also love seeing how the ripple effects extend beyond the session. Participants often tell me about unexpected shifts in other areas of their lives.
Yeah, it's very holistic. I mean, it's like I had the feedback not long ago for a participant, and ask her, so how is it now after 2 years? And she was, oh, everything is resolved. And she even hadn't realized it was thanks to the constellation. because it was so magical. It just happened, and the shift just happened, and yeah. So anyway, it's very holistic, and even physical symptoms sometimes improve because of the emotional burden tied to them is lifted. So backaches, or I don't know, do you have any other symptoms that you've seen people used to suffer and they disappeared?
Yeah, I had a man long time ago who had a serious problem with the heart and the blood and different things like that. And the doctor, after a few sessions, asked him, "So, what did you do to be so in a so good shape?" And the client said, "Oh, nothing. I'm still smoking, drinking, and eating fat. Oh, okay. And I don't do any sports. Oh, oh." And then he remembered that he was following the constellations, several, well, maybe 3 or 4 group session, but it changes his health. So it's really, you can have a physical impact. And
Okay.
yeah, but I want to say it's not just about solving problems, it's about rediscovering balance and connection. And when you reconnect with yourself, with your parents, with your family, with your ancestor, you reconnect with life. So you reconnect with health and
Wow.
with harmony and peace in your heart. So it's really deep and beautiful. Okay,
Okay.
so
Yep.
yeah, if
Sorry.
someone's here listening, I can see we have 3 people following us. Thank you to you. And if someone's listening and feels curious but unsure, what would
Mhm.
you recommend as their first step?
So I think some people might feel scared to come and speak about their own issues, because they're in front of strangers. So I would say, well, start by attending a workshop as an observer or representative. So it's a great way to experience the process without feeling the pressure of having to bring their own issue. What would you suggest, Orianne?
Yeah, I agree. And what I think it's good also to choose the facilitator and to have a chat. There are those facilitators like me. I'm always open to have an half an hour chat with the client, and then all blockages are just melting, and everything is easier because I remind and or I tell to the person about the rules, about the softness of the process. We are not pushing, we are just welcoming and
Mm,
opening ourselves. So yeah, it's
wow.
very, very gentle.
That's nice, definitely. So before we wrap up, what's one message that you'd like listeners to take away from this conversation today?
I would like them to know that healing is possible, even for things that feel deeply rooted or overwhelming. Family constellations, it's a unique way to explore and transform those challenges.
Yeah, I think what you said to me initially when I started working with you was that it could replace years and years of therapy, and people are not getting anywhere with the therapy, but sometimes with just one session of a family constellation, everything gets sorted.
Yeah.
And oh, okay. So I hope listeners feel inspired to take that first step toward understanding themselves and their family systems better. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to say that if you want to go a little bit further, we are planning to give, with Carole, we are co-facilitating in Cambridge, 1st and 2nd of March 2025. And I am also planning to organize a retreat of a 2-day retreat in Portugal, not far from Lisbon. So another way in a beautiful space to enjoy the sun the beauty of nature and to free yourself from all those burdens you are carrying.
Yeah. So, I mean, we are going to put lots of links and information down there as we do, and we'll put the link if you want to attend the next workshop. And also, what I would like to say is our next podcast. So it's every other Tuesday. So the theme of the next podcast is going to be our relationship to our parents, because everything stems from that, actually.
Yeah. And I'm so excited to meet you again and talk about the most important relationship in our lives. It's the relationship we had and we sometimes still have with our parents. Thank you, Carole, for such a thoughtful conversation. It has been a pleasure sharing this space with you. And thank you to all the auditors.
Thank us for joining us today. Until next time.